Hello everyone and welcome to the Channel 5 News. I am Idona John Baptist. Stay tuned, we'll be right back after this.
Do you need more cash for that home improvement? Then come to Fast Cash, where we give you more. At Fast Cash, our customers get more funds and more time to repay. But wait, can't come to us? We'll come to you, and our mobile officer will get you on your way. Small businesses, consumers, and taxi owners. Fast Cash has more for everyone. Simply call or visit any of our locations for more. Smarter, faster, better. Fast Cash. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. The Build Back Better approach is a desire now more than ever as the country recovers for the first time from a Category 5 hurricane. 98% of roofs are damaged and about 50% of houses sustained damage to their frames, according to official assessments. Factors such as preparedness, structural soundness, and adhering to the building codes will come up in the move to a resilient housing stock. Civil engineer Steve Astefan recognized that construction will have to be reviewed to adopt the use of advancements in building materials.
I have been in discussion with the planning department. In fact, I was to help them do a consultancy on it because there is we haven't got to reinvent the wheel. What we have to do is improve on what is there, and improve and train and police. There's another thing that needs to be done is where the Standard Bureau is coming in to decide the quality of material that is coming in. And there's new technology out there, you understand, we have been using for years, nails. And they're special nails for hurricane ties. They're different qualities. And the government services and the Bureau of Standards need to enforce the quality of the screws, the nails, and educate the general public.
Astefan is, however, satisfied that existing building codes are up to par with ideal standards.
I was reading the code just after the storm, and one of the things that has stopped happening, which is supposed to happen, is that you're supposed to have the ventilation of roofs, which is supposed to reduce the pressure inside the building, so then the roof doesn't fly off. You understand? It creates a vacuum and pops the roof off. And I told somebody there's a house in Goodwill, which I know sheeting didn't go, and it's not any phenomenal construction because it's concrete, is ordinary galvanized nails they use. But the house had ventilation. It was an old carpenter who built the house. It was done after Hurricane David, and he put ventilations through the house. My house, however, has ventilation, but I had shingles. The shingles left, but the entire roof frame and the roof structure, which is 3/4 ply, stayed. The only ply that left was the ply on the eaves, and there is codes for the eaves. You know that your eaves not supposed to be more than 12 inches. You understand? If it's 18 inches, you have to secure it and make sure that you deal with it appropriately, have it designed. But I believe the problem is in the enforcement of the building procedures. And right now, unfortunately, people are rushing back to build. And I see the construction going on. I see the same repercussion. If a Category 5 was to come again, some of the roofs would go.
The civil engineer is advocating for education in the form of a manual like Grenada did to relieve the pressure on government to police proper building procedures.
After Hurricane Ivan in Grenada a couple of years ago, they put out a 4-page brochure which simplifies how you would do especially constructions of roofs and even masonry, which relates to the fixing of the roof, because everything is strongest as the weakest link. Because what happens first, you have the wind, it transfers the load to the sheeting. I want to put it in layman term. Then it transfers it to the screws. From the screws, it goes to the purlines, which are fixed to the rafters. Then from the rafters, it is connected to the ridge purlines, the ridge board, the valley boards, and then the plate. Now the plate is connected to the ring beam, which is concrete. And if you have noticed, even in some new construction, there were some ring beams and block works which is connected to the roof, which are destroyed. So you need to have it simplified in almost layman terms, so a simple builder or a carpenter tradesman can understand, and it will be second nature what the length of purlines are. So purline is supposed to be at 24 inches, you maintain it at 24. The purlines at the ridge and the base supposed to be at 12, they will do it.
The other issue, Mr. Astafan, is the fact that people take shortcuts and they will spend where their budget can allow them to.
Yes, that's an issue, budget, but you have to understand in the long term whether you want to take that risk. But sometimes it's not even budget, you know. It's just a matter of know-how, because you can use 24 gauge ordinary sheeted instead of color coating. You don't have to go to 22, 24. You can space your rafters better. You can use screws to screw down your purlines. You don't have to use necessarily screws for the hurricane ties. You can use nails, but you have to have proper nails. I have a nail down there I got from Matney, and it is super. You understand? It's not the price of a screw. A nail is cheaper, but it has corrugations in it, which will increase the pull-out on the nail. Mm-hmm. The thickness of the nail is better. So it's a matter of knowing what is out there and getting the most economical solution for everybody's budget.
There are research findings to prove that certain homes' shapes and roof types can better resist high winds and hurricanes. Seasoned architect Eugene Roye's advice is to seek the input of a technical qualified person like an architect or structural engineer if you are trying to rebuild post-Hurricane Maria type buildings.
First of all, many of those structures that have been damaged are not really architecturally designed buildings. They are built or designed mostly by draftsmen with some experience in drafting those types of buildings. Generally, one finds that a pitched roof, such as a hip roof, is the most advantageous in terms of the aerodynamics of the hurricane. That one seems to have fared well, especially if it has a pitched roof, as opposed to a gable roof. The hip roof is the one with all the sides slanting. And preferably if it has a good pitch, then one would think it would fare better in a hurricane.
For those who want to build back but considering doing so with a concrete roof, Roye noted that one has to ensure their building's foundation is structurally sound.
Post-Maria, I find, having visited quite a number of those buildings that were damaged, many persons seem to want to build a concrete roof as opposed to a pitch roof. Now, one should realize that those buildings with pitch roofs were not really designed to accommodate a flat concrete roof. However, that is not to say one cannot put a concrete roof on one that was designed for a pitch roof. But if one were to head into that direction, then I strongly suggest they seek advice from a structural engineer to give them advice as to how to go about it. The structural engineer would be verifying the adequacy of your structure to maintain or contain a concrete roof.
The way he sees it, cutting corners in construction will likely result in a substandard outcome.
Obviously, if you want to cut costs, especially in construction, you'll soon realize after a hurricane or a storm that where you cut the cost, it wasn't deserved, because you may, say, spend less on the sizes of the timber frame members, and instead of using screws, use nails, etc., etc. Now, you will realize soon after a hurricane that it wasn't worth it. So therefore, it is best to put the money where it deserves, because it's very essential for us to follow the codes. And even I have heard of new codes that are going to be prepared, and I think the public should be sensitized to those codes via a book.
One of the communities deemed a special disaster area after Tropical Storm Erika in 2015 is looking to be relocated before the next major storm comes Dominica's way. Andrea Louis has that story.
2 years ago, Kulibistri was the only West Coast village deemed a special disaster area due to the ravages of Tropical Storm Erika. 10 weeks after Hurricane Maria, a Channel 5 news team ventured to that community to see the level of damage from Maria and speak with the villagers on how they fared out during that storm. Chairman of the Kulibistri Village Council, Erickson Robinson, says all prior warnings were heeded. However, at this point, relocation is the only option for the survival of the community.
Prior to the hurricane, we made our preparations. We acceded to the advisories that were offered, and we tried our best to move the elderly during the course of the day to higher ground in Montrachet, to the community center. And we made efforts in ensuring that we provide the pastors, the priests, the key stakeholders, the leaders in the community with the information from the council point of view that we should not take this storm lightly. I can safely say that the community of Kulibistri took the information very, very seriously, and that is the reason why we have no major loss of life. But the community itself has been disseminated by, really, truly, we do not have a community of Kulibistri anymore.
Now, you mentioned quite a number of houses were damaged from this. So the residents who used to be in the damaged houses or the destroyed houses, where are they now? What's up with the people of Kulibistri? Okay,
well, we had quite a few of the people at the resource center, but for now, most persons are with family and friends around the neighboring communities. So we don't have anybody at the shelter as we speak, but we have quite a few displaced persons because you would have seen a number of homes completely damaged and devastated by the hurricane.
Okay. All right. Well, have any thoughts or consideration been given to where you would like to move? I mean, I know you mentioned Kulibistri, you kind of rebuild here pretty much. So any thoughts as to where you'd like the community to move to?
Well, definitely. I mean, the authorities have given us the assurance that, the community cannot remain in this location. I know for sure, based on my dialogue with the authorities, that things are in place, and the process is the wheel is turning. I know that there is an issue of land. Most of the lands in the area belong to private individuals, so I'm sure that some ironing out of the details of land is going on behind the scene. And as soon as that is done, the authorities will come to the community and speak with the people of Kulibistri.
It's been approximately 10 weeks since the storm, the hurricane. How would you describe the relief effort in Kulibistri and even the cleanup of the community?
Well, I would describe it as awesome. Okay. The day after the hurricane, if you had a look at Kulibistri, you would believe that this mammoth task just could not have been tackled. But we have had strong support. We have a bunch of guys that are committed to the task, and I just want to highlight the efforts of Shanks Esprit. He has been there every day. He has really spearheaded and pushed the effort of the cleanup. But definitely, we have done quite a bit. You realize that the road to the school, the health center, and to the upper part of the village has been cleared. Right now, we are focusing on trying to clear as much siltage and debris from the homes and around the homes of persons. I mean, you will understand that, the amount of material that is in this community is just awesome, And if you go across to the dumping site, you'll see that, a lot of material has been moved, and there's still a lot of material to be moved. And we will continue the process to ensure that, persons can at least be a bit comfortable. But long and short that we have to move. We really have to move from this area. It's just not safe.
Villagers of Kulibistri each had a different yet frightening experience on the night of Hurricane Maria.
The night of Maria, I was in my house, and then when the rain started falling, but after, when the wind started, I am my window doing flap, 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 flap. It tightly closed, but it not closing properly. I don't know what happened. Then anyway, I tell my son I have to hold on to that window. I held on to the window at 9:30. So Maria pulling it, I pull in back too. I say, Maria, you're not stronger than me. I held on to that. I tell my son, when that going to pass? He tell me, Mommy, 2 o'clock. I say, oh my God, I don't think I can hold on. I fainting. Anyway, I hold on. I say, God, give me this strength, because if it was Creole Festival, I would stand up and take the reading. So let me stand up and hold my window before it mash up. And anyway, I did. When it was 2 o'clock, I let go that window. When the thing passed, and I just threw myself on my bed. I said, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord, for saving that roof. Thank you. But it's when I get up, when I go outside, I saw the amount of debris. That's it. I never know this enter in the place like that. Right at the back of the house, all under the cellar, and a lot of debris. And if you're driving up, you could see a big chunk of wood somewhere. It partly caught. We had to cut it so that we could pass. But that was really terrible. I don't want another experience like that.
So when you did come to the village, what was the scene like?
I say, oh my God, it was done, Erica. And I just couldn't face it again. I just went up home.
Well, I was partly in the heart of the river, but I was in upstairs and downstairs house, close to my house.
And during that night, what was the experience like with all the rain and the wind? What was that like?
The experience is it can explain now. It was so dramatic and scary.
You mentioned you were almost in the heart of the river. What happened to your house?
My house totally gone.
Totally?
Yeah, totally, completely.
Okay. What type of house? Was it a wooden house?
I have a wooden house, and I have a block house.
Okay.
Both of them gone.
All right, so both your houses are completely gone. Where are you staying now?
Now I stay in partly here, partly could be Salisbury.
Okay. Yeah. So when the night of the storm, you were in your house?
No, I left before it struck.
Okay.
But I was close by.
Okay. Now, the morning after the hurricane, when you came outside or you saw Kulibistri, what went through your mind?
This is a no-no. To me, it's a no-no. But I'm not born in this village. I'm from Salisbury, so I cannot talk on behalf of the people here, but it's a no-no.
So any message you want to leave with our public?
All I can tell to hold strong. Hold strong. This is our country. And I would even invite the diaspora to come back in, the runaway. Let us build it back. We will succeed.
I lost my home to Tropical Storm Erica, and I was forced to rent this house. But because it's an upstairs and downstairs house, I felt a little safer. But it was even more traumatizing being there, because when the river started to come, it started like a little ravine on the road. When my neighbor came and he told us, come and see that, look, the river in the road. We're checking, okay, it's just a little water in the road, it's not nothing. Because in our minds, people say it's not only after 100 years that will happen again. So nobody thought that would really happen like that, and even worse. So we didn't really bother as such. But then it's after, when I came downstairs, I can't remember what I came to do. I saw the water gushing through the door by the kitchen. But in the morning, when we woke up, we saw outside was looking so funny. All on the mountain, you see now, also white things. I chicken, but hey, what is that? I even say it's angels, man, that day. When I watch, I see galvanized, a whole set of galvanized from roofs, from people's homes and stuff. When I watch outside, the yard, I could see my standpipe. But then after it, the river came down, all on the playing field, and then all through my kitchen. My downstairs was just the way for the river to pass through.
Now, the day after Hurricane Maria, what was it like for you?
Well, it was really traumatizing. Every time the rain fall, up to now, I get scared. If I see the clouds turn gray after rain going to fall, I tell my neighbor, rain will fall. Like during the day, it's not really frightening me much. But nighttime, if I just see the clouds turning gray, I cannot sleep. But it's like rain falling, and to see the level of the dirt so high, still it's frightening, because the river itself is same level with the road. Some of our houses even same level with it, so it's like it is scary, very traumatizing. But then We just have to continue to trust God because He's the only person that could really help us through that.
Reporting for Channel 5 News, I am Andrea Louis.
The Ministry of Sports says dedicating funds to the renovation of the Geneva playing field after it was affected twice by weather systems is a valuable investment. Kenny Williams has that story.
Minister for Sports, Honorable Justina Charles, was at the time responding to a suggestion made by head of Dominica Football Association, Glenn Etienne, who said that government should refrain from investing heavily in the renovation of that playing field since it is located in a flood-prone area. However, Charles says the sporting ground serves a large population and is important for them to have an area to divert their energies into positive activity.
The Geneva playing field always gets a little blow. Erica, it was damaged, and we just had $500,000 to begin to work on the drainage on the Geneva playing field that was budgeted for in this year's budget. Now we have to look at basically what we have to do now. It's heavily covered with logs and sand, and I can tell you, but we are getting the estimate. In fact, I should have gotten it already. The estimate to see how fast we can move to clean it and bring it back to playing condition. We may not do the irrigation now, but at least to make sure that it can get back to a condition where players can use the playing field. The pavilion too is heavily covered with logs and sand and stones and everything. So definitely it's going to cost us some money to see if we can repair some of the sports facility. But we understand the importance of sports in Dominica for our young people, for the middle age, for all age groups. And so that is why I think now more than ever, even after Hurricane Maria, we know how involvement in sports can improve our psychological well-being, our moral, physical well-being, and so definitely we need to see that we can bring those facilities to playing condition at the soonest possible time so that we can engage our young people and they can continue to divert their energy into positive activities, because we know following a hurricane quite a bit has happened and quite a bit can continue. It's unfortunate that we might see an increase in our unemployment as a result of all of the damage and all of the human disaster that happened post-Maria, and definitely it's going to affect our employment, and if that is affected, we can always begin to associate it with some of the social ills that might follow, and so sports is one of the areas that we can probably try to divert people from those ills into something positive. So definitely we will be working feverishly. It is true, based on the location, I mean, every storm is affected. Every natural disaster like that of that magnitude is affected. But then we have to look, is there another area in Grand Bay that we can establish a playing field? We definitely need a playing field for a large community like Grand Bay. I think one of the most important things is if we can, I know we're going to have a company coming down to do some dredging. If we can do some serious river dredging, in the long term we can look at a retaining river defense wall. That could be one of the areas that we can probably look at to see, but it's definitely going to cost a lot to put a river retaining wall there. Definitely it's going to cost us some very large sum of money. But that is one of the things that we have to look at, because unless we can identify another area, which is going to be difficult, if we have to identify any other area, we would probably have to purchase land, and where? It would not be anywhere close to the community, because the community itself is already heavily taken up with houses. So definitely that is a challenge for us. So we might very well have to use that area until such time that we can think of somewhere else.
Meantime, Charles says while school sporting programs were negatively impacted by human intervention, her ministry is not deterred and is doing all it can to get things back to normal in the soonest possible time. Evidence of that was the start of the secondary school's Under-17 football championship last week and the Under-15's preparation for the Windward Islands Under-15 cricket tournament carried for December 9 in St. Vincent.
Even our office, the sports division office, that was vandalized, and they took the computers, they took the sports uniform, they took sports gears, and it's unfortunate that, I mean, what are you going to do with uniforms? What are you doing with the gears, And these are things for us to take to the schools to teach the children and to help the young sports people. And these people went in there and vandalized the place. But however, that does not deter us and it does not daunt our spirit. We will continue as a ministry and department to do all of that we have to do to make sure that we can get back, bounce back and continue to roll. Unfortunately, though, we had to curtail some of our sports program because, you know, school was affected and so our students were out for a long time. Now that returned, while sports is important to help them, as I said, mentally, but we could not just encroach as soon as they open because they had to settle down and everything. We will continue with quite a few of the programs we've cancelled some of them, but we definitely will be moving with some of them until the end of the financial year. So definitely we are on the ball. The sports ministry, some of our sports officers, because the office was affected and some of the programs were not running, we had some of our sports officers redeployed to go and assist with housing assessment. But as soon as all our programs get kicking again, all our sports officers will be back in the office doing what they're supposed to be doing and on the field working for our young people and trying to improve some of the sporting facilities across the island. It's a lot of work, but we are focused and we recognize the importance, and definitely as a minister I will try as much as possible to give direction to improving those facilities once we can work with the Minister of Finance and to get some of the monies that we require, some of the monies that we had for some of the programs we might have to use for other things, and we've already made a submission so that at least Finance can revisit it, and it would have to get cabinet sanction because you know the budget was sanctioned by cabinet, so definitely cabinet will have to sanction some of the redeployment of some of the monies that we have, and so that we can move forward. But we are on and we are definitely going to move on.
The Ministry of Sports says it will do all it can to ensure that sports is not left behind in this post-Maria era, since participation in sports has benefits for the young and the old. Reporting for Channel 5 News, I am Kenny Williams.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth or call 445-5001, 275-5003 today.
This has been the Channel 5 News. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Idona John Baptist. Thanks for watching. Join us tomorrow.